Hey, good morning, everybody. It is the High Energy Misfits. Today is Friday, December 21st, 2018. My name is Sean Murphy, along with some other amazing souls. This morning, our conversation is about being enough. What we've decided is that we're going to meet on a regular basis and have a conversation that allows us to expose our own greatness and reveal our own weakness so that we can have enough. And that's really what we want. So before we get started, what I usually ask is, has anybody had a little awakening? Because this is now day 6, right? A full week. We started a week ago Friday. Does anybody have an awakening, an awareness, I need help with real quick that we can use to get started so we can pour energy into you during this conversation? Anybody having a little aha? I ain't saying nothing. I ain't afraid of no ghost. All right, so then we're going to dive in. So I want to welcome some new friends that are coming on. I've got some friends from Costa Rica and Panama, I think, joining me this morning. So that's pretty cool. We've now gone global. We've been international with our Canadian friends, our Canucks. But now we've gone global with our friends from Latin America, who are absolutely gracious souls. So I want to welcome them. And this information, there's another thing that you'll see in the posts to go to Daily Awakening in Facebook. It's a Facebook group, and you'll see these links here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start the presentation. Let me see if I can find stuff. Here we go. Today, so when I was meditating this morning, one of the things that came up was this thing about being enough. And you know what the funniest thing was? Is when I went, well, that's not a big enough topic. When we talk about being enough, I think, I want you to sit with just for a second. I want you to sit with being enough. Now, guys, watching this, listening to this, being a part of this, I think I saw Robert pop on. Guys, when we think of enough, we think of it in our male format. Ladies, when you think of enough, what I've, in my research and in my studies, all of the mentoring that I've done and teaching and coaching and training I've done with women over the years, this word is like a big word. So I want you to just sit real quick with that word enough, because we're going to awaken something today. I hope that's my goal. Sit with it for just a second. When you think, am I enough? Where do you feel that? When you hear, you're not enough, where do you feel that? When you say this, I'm not doing enough, where does that feel? And again, this is a powerful little conversation. So here's what we're talking about. The poor word enough is confused. What? How many of us know that every word has energy? Every word operates in a vibrational stance, right? There's 18 ways to say the word hello. It's the same H-E-L-L-O, but it's the intent, it's the vibration behind it. The word enough has created a vibration in our bodies and in our souls that causes us to use it in a particular pattern. But the word enough is just a word. The challenge is, I think it's confused. What is enough? Really, what is enough? How many of us could use some more money, right? I don't have enough. How many of us could use more sleep? I don't have enough. How many of us, if we were drowning, too much water's, I've had enough, right? Sometimes too much. So here's the thing. What determines enough? We tell our kids, hey, that's enough. Stop, Mason, that's enough. I use it all the time. Mason, that's enough. We tell the universe, oh my gosh, enough already of the trials and tribulations. I already got my testimony. I don't need more. I've already had enough pain and trouble and strife and aggravation and frustration. But then when we go to bed at night, we pray, I don't have enough. And the universe goes, okay, I'll give you more tomorrow. And that's what happens. I believe that's what happens. When we say we have enough, isn't it just joy? What does it feel like to have just enough sun? Just before you can feel, how many of us have ever had just enough sun before the sunburn started? Right? If we had too much sun, we had more than enough. And it's uncomfortable. So even in our brain, in our trials and tribulations, the way we've established this word enough, this energy enough, this feeling of enough, we've established in such a way that if we have too much of enough, it's too much of enough. Why don't we work on what would happen to our life if we had just enough? Always had enough. Enough of too much and enough of not enough. That makes sense? What is just enough rain? Right? Some people this year in the fires in California didn't have the rain. They didn't have enough. They had more than enough fire. Right? Bob Proctor talks about electricity. He says, we still don't understand it. He said, but electricity, he said, it's something that you can use to cook a meal and you can use to cook a man. How much is enough? It's just, it's only, enough is going to do what it needs to do. It's our interpretation of enough that causes it to have joy or pain. What is enough joy? I mean, what is enough joy? When you watch your grandbabies, when I watch old movies of Mason and he just starts giggling, he did I love to film stuff. And so he was telling me one morning, I think he was about 4, Smarty Smarts. I'll see if I can find the video and put it up. Some of you may have seen it on my Facebook. If you want to be smart, you got to be smarter, smarter, smarts. I mean, it was just the greatest thing. I don't know if I could describe how much joy was there, but I can tell you this, it was enough. Just enough laughter, just enough money. See, if we believe that our thoughts can influence our day and vibrational tendencies can have an effect on our environment, right? If you walk into the house and somebody goes, uh-oh, daddy's in a mood. Uh-oh, mommy's in a mood. Oh my gosh, what's the matter with Fido? He's in a mood. Well, he got mad at you because you left yesterday, right? All of these things of energy incorporate around us. What would it feel like to have just enough money all the time? Right? One of the 3 wishes somebody said one time is, anytime I put my hands in my pocket, I have enough money to pay for whatever it is I want. How freaking cool would that be? Well, it is possible. So, are you looking for an emergency fix on enough? Man, all I need is enough to get by. How many times have we said that? I'm going to take a cup of coffee while I think of the 1,000 times I've said it.
I hate that thought.
So understand that we created that. We can't say I brought in all the good and the bad shit that comes in. I had nothing to do with. We just can't, because it's all part of our enough. And then here's the question: are you looking for a long-term position to hire enough? Imagine. Yeah, this is so cool. Thank you all for letting me do what I love to do. Yesterday, we talked about the interview, right? This is the same slide from the interview. What's the emergency fix? What's the long-term position? What's the long-term position? If you had to go out and hire enough, what talents? You're going to go interview enough. How cool is this? This is a download right now. I am not this smart. I'm just a conduit. How many of us, if we had to go out and interview the word enough in our life? I saw Lavelia on here. She started something yesterday or the day before called the Thriving Squad to take care of women and children in poorer communities so that they always have more than enough, that they have enough. What if you had to go interview somebody to help you with your enough? What would that look like? I come out, I'm in this powerful profession of network marketing, building an organization. I think I'm going to start having a conversation. We need to sit down and I need to interview and find out what your enough is. Have you had enough pain and suffering? Because if you've had enough of that, then we can switch it. If you do you not have enough money? I need to find out what your enough is. We need to interview your enoughness. I think I'm going to go get that website. Don't get it. So, what is your enough policy? Right? We all have these limits. We all have these rules. What if enough was always the best version of enough? Well, that's enough, right? When my mother was Russian Jew, my father Irish, but my mother was always, whenever we'd eat, right? How many of your moms were like this, or how many of you are like this? Oh, come on, just one more. No, I've had enough. Oh my gosh, I couldn't eat another bite. But yet, if we have enough in one part of our life, how could we lack in another? See, the poor word enough is confused. Enough already. Let's give enough a chance to live its dream. What's the word enough's dream? To be the best enough it can be. I know this sounds crazy, but that's why you're here. You're crazy. You're not normal. You're Abby-normal if you've ever seen it. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to go into a little round table discussion right now. My question to you, my desire for you, my enoughness for you is that the next 2 days and all that you have, see it as enough. And watch it change. Watch it change. So I didn't put stevia in my coffee, and I'm drinking it now. And you know what? It's sweet enough. It's cool. As opposed to spending the rest of the time when I took the first step earlier and I went, Jesus, criminy, for the love of God. Now I got to sit here for the next 20 minutes and I don't have enough sugar in my coffee. How stupid of me would that be? Yeah, but don't you like that? No, it's just enough. It's perfect. Because it will change my energy when I don't have enough. I would encourage us over the next 2 days till we get back together Monday. What would be enough for you? What would enough look like? So, with that being said, that's enough of that. I would love to get some feedback on it. What's your feedback? What is happening? What are you feeling as your enoughness? What's coming through you? What's showing up in your head? What resistance? What joy?
For me, the word enough, if we want it to be the idyllic enough, the word that comes up is bliss, because it's always just right. And Paulette said something yesterday on one of her calls to take to take a negative and say, I love that, like whatever negative's going on, and say, I love that. And it really does change the climate or the feeling.
I forgot stevia in my coffee, and I love that. How could you be mad? When your kids, listen, when Mason does something and something breaks, right, when he was a baby, what was the first thing that came out of their mouth, out of your mouth? Are you okay? Right? I remember having to call my mom and tell her that I got in an accident. And the first thing out of her, you could tell somebody's energy, right? I said, Mom, I got to tell you something. She's like, what happened? I said, I had an accident. The first thing out of her mouth was what? Are you okay? Are you enough? And then once I said yes, what'd she say? When you come home, I will beat you to death, but that's another issue. That's why I was in therapy for years. I was never in therapy. But you're right. So how far apart is the word bliss and the word enough? They sound like they're in two different churches. But if you just enough blissfulness,
marry them,
enough joy, all I want is enough this, and it'll allow your spirit. How many of us, if you're feeling less than, you're not enough, what if you were always enough in every situation? Cool. What else is popping into your heads?
Wake up, heads.
Come on.
Hey, Emily, when you just mentioned about bliss, That kind of, another place where I go with enough and bliss is contentment on certain things. But then, there's that other, part about being content, but not complacent, right? So you then need to, kind of do more. But that just kind of fits in, I think, for me, is being, I've kind of looked at it more like being content in whatever the circumstances are right now. But I don't need to stay there if I don't want to. I can move out of that. That's just kind of where my head is.
You're saying you could move out of contentment? Why would you choose that?
Well, not contentment, meaning I don't want to be stuck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So again, Elaine, when you're stuck, you're in a place of not enough.
I'm not going to
Right.
settle
Breaking up.
for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm happy. Now I could be content. Sorry, my internet's kind of wild this morning.
That's okay.
In my business, I could be content where I'm at. Maybe I've achieved something new and I could be content for the moment. I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's enough for me right now, but I want to move forward. I want to do more than what I did a lot. That type of thing is what I mean by, content, but wanting to do some more.
Yeah.
I feel the same as Elaine to that. And same with Emily too. I can pick up some of each of that, because when you're content, it's a great place to be in.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Not
No.
one person on this call wants to be effing content.
No. It's
Okay.
not.
Sorry
I'm
then.
saying, words
Not
have
forever, not forever.
No, it's not forever. It's like when you reach that point of like see if you are coming into your enough, or you're thinking like, well, I'm looking at it in the business part too. Like when you're moving ahead and you're
Listen,
thinking
Linda,
like,
I
oh,
love you.
yeah,
But there is no business. There's only you.
yeah, true.
Your business happens to be a part
To
of
meet
you.
me, yeah,
So here's my point.
yeah.
So just throw this out for anybody that wants to type it in the chat or say it out loud. Of all of the emotions, we just came across a couple: bliss, content, joy, happiness, sadness, frustration. How many emotions do you think we've been able to identify? If you have a wild ass number, how many do you think emotions? Think of all of the names you can give to emotions. How many do you think are out there? There's a number that they've identified, and they could probably add some more to it.
Probably 1,000, maybe more than that.
1,000's a good number. You want to know the number?
I think there's two.
35,000.
35,000.
35,000 names we've identified as emotions: happiness, sadness, triteness, contriteness, frustration, aggravation, dependency, blah, blah, right? If we just start naming some of the things, we could come up with 1,000 like that just amongst us.
Wow.
So there's really only the two, pain and joy, right? We move away from pain to get into joy, or we move away from joy to get back into pain because we're not enough. But this word enough, when we say content, spaghetti's content. Jesus, criminy, spaghetti's fine. How are you? Fine. Somebody tells me I'm fine. I go, what are you, spaghetti? This is about us awakening our soul. And again, this is a guy thing. Ladies, there has been so much okayness that you've been forced into your lives to be okay, to fit in, to not stand out, to not do this, to not do that. And the ones who stand out, what do we call them? The ones who stand out and are like in their spirit, and they're like the big red lipstick, and they got the gray poupon shoes on. What are they called? Blue Bonds? Whatever they're called, with the red soles. You know, the Louis Vuitton, right?
Yes.
And they got all this stuff on. And if they're outstanding and they're powerful in their spirit, man, what a bitch.
Full of herself.
Yeah. What a bitch.
Full of herself.
Okay,
I'm going to jump in here and just kind of, oh dear. All right. So, Sean, you just have a way of doing this, don't you? But it's all good. So where my husband and I are at in our life, in our journey with grown children and all of that. And so here we are, it's Christmas. And this is actually right where we've been. So our house is for sale. This is going to be the final Christmas in this big monster house. And it's like, I've been talking to Rick and just saying, like, I've had enough. Like, I want to do different stuff now. I want my children to, they're grown women. They're all in their 30s. One's in her 40s. It's like, do Christmas and let me come visit you. I've had enough of doing. And so I've kind of drawn the line, and I've actually had this conversation. I think I started it Thursday before we began this on Friday. And they're looking at me like, you don't say these things, Mom. Like, what do you mean you don't want to have every, and it's not that I don't want to see you all. I just don't want it all here. And I would like to do different things. And so, you know, we're moving, but we have no idea where to. I want water. I've had enough of just being here. And so in the last month, actually, I have been stepping out, being bold, being a bulldog with lipstick, as they say, and just saying, no, I don't want this anymore. I'm done with this. You know, life is short. I want to experience more. I want more of. And so it's been interesting with our family. I mean, Rick and I have been together over, well, 40 years. And so Elaine is suddenly going, I've had enough. It's like, well, wait a second, who just showed up? So this is great for me every morning, because it's like, okay, how do I navigate through this newness of,
Put on a little more.
What's that?
Put on a little more lipstick and go for the day.
Okay, I'm gonna show up one morning.
Big spike collar.
Right. So it's just been, you know, when we're talking about enough, and sometimes you've just, as you say, you've had enough. Like, that's it. I'm busting through this. We're moving forward. Not sure to where. That's wide open. You know, we've no plans as to where we're going. We're not looking for a house. We just, you know, it's kind of like, kids are grown, grandkids are getting older. It's time to do new. So this enough thing has really got my brain going.
Elaine, I appreciate that, because one of the things is, if you were listening, everybody, and I know you were hearing that Lane's enough was limited by other people's opinions. It's this addiction to approval. And this addiction to approval runs at a cellular level. It runs in our DNA, because if there's anything you've ever done that somebody says, oh my God, we see Mason and we go, Michelle's dad, his name is Gary, he's passed. And Mason was little when he passed. But Mason will cross his legs like Gary. I don't do that. Michelle doesn't do that. He will do things just like Gary does. And Michelle goes, oh my God, you're just like Dad. And I'll see it and I'll giggle going, yes, he is. And here's the point. That's in the DNA. Now, who was I talking to? I was talking with somebody. We have cellular memory.
Yeah.
And our level of enough is built on how much we have room in our cells. Well, we got 30 trillion cells. And here's the thing. Every cell, how many of you believe that you get your energy, you take energy in, it metabolizes, and it goes into where? It doesn't go into nothingness. It goes into your cells. Your cells create stuff, do stuff, and poop stuff out, and sweat stuff out, and burp stuff out, and whatever, right? But it's always in the cell. So your cells are made up. And how does a heart cell, when a heart deteriorates, a heart cell deteriorates, how does your body, this thing that beats your soul, how does it know to make a heart cell? How, when I scratched my hand somewhere, right here, I cut my hand the other day, how did it know to grow back those cells and an ear didn't start growing there? Because when I cut my ear grows back. How does it know that? This thing that beats our soul, right? How does it know that? So this cellular memory, this thing of, if I were to ask you to try to figure out, to try to write out all of your memory, Think about that. Write out all of your memory. How many thousands of books would it fill? So here's the reality. There's not spatially enough space, I believe. This is me talking now, the farm boy from Ohio with a 0.9 grade education, so take it for what it's worth. How many of us can, if we realize that all the things that we can remember, all the things, where the hell is the stuff you're learning coming from? This energy, this awakening that you're having, where the heck was that? Where is it right now in this moment? The next thing you're about to learn, where is it? Got to be out here. So if it's out here, if there's a new idea that can come into your mind that wasn't there, that didn't exist, that a new concept, a new task, a new trade, a new treat, a new this, if something new can come into your life and it wasn't in you, where the heck was it?
You know, when
It
I
was
was,
out there.
yeah,
And if that's out there, if the unknown is out there, what would you say you have more of? Known or unknown available to you?
Unknown.
So if unknown is more available, guess what we can do with this new enoughness? What if we just doubled our enoughness of joy? Would we live in a different state if we go, oh my God, I thought that was joy? This great book, Stumbling Upon Happiness. He says, how can you ever say you're happy till you're dead? Think about that. If you're happy right now. So we give Elaine, how old are the kids, the grandbabies? What's the youngest one?
My youngest is 7. My oldest is 21.
Okay. So everybody on this call, I think we're older than 7, but spiritually we're probably 5-year-olds, right? So we're all older than 7 years old. If you got a birthday cake and a 7-year-old got a birthday cake, who do you think's happier?
The 7-year-old, probably.
Well, then how the hell can they say they're happy? Because you've the same instant to you and to them, we have 2 different levels of happy. So how can that child at 7 years old say I'm happy? Because it was enough.
Mm-hmm.
We start to beat ourselves up over time and over life that we go, I don't have enough. I need to do more. I need to be more. I've got 30 years experience in this thing and 20 years experience in that. I should be more. No, you should be enough. Here's what I know. Elaine, how long have you been teaching horses?
Wait, Elaine or me?
I'm looking right at you, Leslie.
See that you're looking at me.
But here's the thing. Elaine went, wait a minute, I'm not enough. I've been around horses.
I'm thinking I've only ever been on a horse once. I don't know anything about a horse.
I've been around horses from about 8 years old. So 50 years.
Okay, so
Almost.
yeah. So you've been doing that for 50 years. So here's the question. If there's anyone that's never even ridden a horse, do you think you could train a horse? And then the question then comes from Leslie going, yeah, but you need to learn a little more in this. But Leslie, weren't you, right? All of the experts started off as what? Beginners?
Mm-hmm. We all have to learn how to post.
So what if we were all on this journey of beginning enoughness? What if somebody asked you, what do you do? I've partnered with a community. Now, this could be your business. It could be this misfit group. This could be anything. I've partnered with a community to allow me to have more than enough every single day.
I like that.
How do you do that? What's the answer? Very well. Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
I know that cracks Elaine up every time I say that.
It's because I said it once and then all of a sudden they went, whoa, where's Sean?
So think about that. Today, it's okay. We know this. A lot of us are in this profession of loving more, me loving more, network marketing. And people come in all the time, go, I'm new to this. Oh, I don't know this, how to do this. Oh my God, I want to just choke them. You've lived under a rock for 100 years. You've never talked to anybody. You've never loved anybody. You've never received anything. Well, yeah, I've done all that. Then, so I blame us, the presenters, that we make people feel they got to do something different. Listen, you get involved, you got to create a list of 100 friends. My friends don't want to talk to me. Why would I want to go put them on a list and be embarrassed? My family thinks I'm an idiot. They still light candles for me. If my mother was here, she'd say, have you gotten a job yet? I've stood on stage in 30 countries, been translated into 40 languages. I have family, groups, and friends all over the world. You still doing that thing?
Sean, that makes me laugh because it's funny, our middle daughter, when she was in grade school, and I remember they were asking, what do your parents do? And the comment came back from her. It was one of those, you're at class with your kids. And it was that my parents can't get a job, they stay at home. So we were always the couple on the street out of all of our kids' friends that didn't have jobs. We didn't go to work. We didn't have a job. So, people thought that our kids were always doing without, or they didn't have, poor them, because they told their friends, mom and dad don't work, right? They stay at home. So.
When you started asking when they came home, how was school today? Yeah, it was good. They gave me lunch again. Why are they giving you lunch? Well, I told them you guys don't have jobs. But see, this is the whole story. Our competition isn't another network marketing company. It isn't another funding source. It's the conversation we're not privy to. That's our competition. The conversation we are not privy to, because if we were privy to it, if it was made available to us, their fear and doubt, we could help them through it. But our competition is always the conversation we're not privy to. Here's our competition with enoughness. 70,000 thoughts a day, 14,000 words a minute are running through your head. There is never a moment that your brain is shut off. Thank God, because otherwise, if I had to think about beating my heart, I'd be a puddle somewhere. So we have this autonomic nervous system that runs our body and runs this. We also have the brain that has been developed and designed in the prefrontal cortex that is constantly in motion to figure out, right now, if I were to ask you to pay attention to something new in your environment, could you see something new or hear something new in your environment that you hadn't heard, you weren't paying attention to? Is there a sound in your environment? A fan, right? So I have a fan going above me. So that I hear that now that I put focus on it. Yeah. Is there the air coming out of the vents? Is there cars going by outside? Is there something in your environment that you weren't aware of? Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. It was always there. Otherwise, you'd have been reacting like, ah, what is that? Oh, 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 oh my God. Right? You'd have been going, oh, those are sticks. No, I thought they were snakes. Oh, oh, oh. A box of Kleenex. I thought it was an elephant. Right? I know we giggle, but if once we realize how funny life is, the reason I'm not scared of a box of Kleenex is because I know it's not going to kill me unless Michelle comes in and throws it at me. So all of these things, the thousands of things that are in the room right now that you have decided aren't going to hurt you. The brain looks for two things. Will it kill me? And how fast can I recognize the pattern?
Yes.
And when we realize the pattern of enoughness that we have created, here's the good news. You've gotten yourself to here. Here's the great news. What got you here ain't going to get you out of here. You've got to change. You will change. You will adapt and adopt. It's the day you've had enough. The day you've had enough is when they rush you to the hospital with a 4 coronary bypass heart surgery. And you're like, I'm not smoking again. I'm getting off the bacon. Right? Or it's the day when your baby comes up to you and Dad and Mason says to me, I need help. And you stop everything. None of that was important. I got to do a webinar. If Mason came in right now, God forbid something happened and we had to go to the hospital, how long do you think I'd be sitting here? I got like 25 more minutes. Hold on. We get to decide what is enough in our life. We're misfits of this high energy. 7 billion people on the world, and we got 12 of them here. There's people who said, I'd love to be here. 6:30 in the morning. Listen, when I was building my team in the US, I would do my masterminds at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Whew.
Why would you do that at 2 o'clock in the morning? To weed out the wannabes. I'm doing this at 6:30 in the morning. A, it's convenient for me, but I needed to get my fat ass out of bed. Now that I don't have a quote job, I get to do, I'm working 20 hours a day and I love it without being distracted. I get to put stuff in all on one versus driving for 4 hours, doing an event, getting to my hotel room and trying to mentally motivate myself to do something on my business other than that. Now I'm here. So my enough, right? Don't have a job. That enough, good Lord, I thanked them.
For freeing you, huh?
Yes. Because if the pain, so here's the thing, if the pain of doing what I was doing, if my energy changed every Sunday when I knew I had to leave on Monday, which it did, because I heard this more than once when I would kind of fly off at the handle, and me flying off at the handle is, come on. That's me flying off at the handle at that. Come on. And they're like, oh, Daddy's upset. and I would go out to take the garbage out or do something in the garage, and I'd hear Michelle, not whisper, but Michelle would say to Mason, remember, tomorrow's Monday, Daddy's heading out of town. He doesn't like that. So just chill with it. And I'm like, son of a bitch. This is affecting my family. This is affecting me 600 generations from now. And I said, I got to make this change.
Mhm.
So maybe somewhere subconsciously, I created this. Well, I have no doubt that I created this. But I said, I had enough. When we say we had enough, somebody draw the line. Somebody use the physical feature. What's that thing? I've had enough. I've had it up to where? Somebody hold their hand where you've had it up to. Yeah, we don't go, I've had it up to here, because that would kill you. I've had it up to here. Well, that's not enough. If you want enough to have it over you, we should have done it up here. So even in enough, we're limiting it. I had it up to here with you. No, you didn't. You still got this much more room. What it says is, you've hurt my heart.
I was going to
I
say,
can
it's
still
feelings,
think
not-
my way out of this, but you've hurt my heart. I've had it up to here with you. Don't hurt my heart anymore is what it means. Don't keep creating stress that I can't believe myself out of this. Well, I can tell you, I believe in you. I know if I were to ask everyone on here, do you believe in the people around you enough for them to use your belief? And the answer would be 100% yes. Then I turn the mirror back around and I go, do you believe in you? Well, I'm working on me. I'm a work in progress. I see that post one more time. We are a work in progress, but we are perfect right now. When I would do coaching, I would ask people to fill out a survey, 1 to 10, meaning how good are you? 1 being not so good, 10 being good. I want you to go through these numbers in your head. How good are you on social media? 1 to 10, 1 being bad, 10 being perfect. How good are you at follow-up emails? How good are you at website design? How good are you at driving long distances? How good? And if nobody said a 10, here's what I would do, right? So they would put a 7, a 6, a 5, a 4, a 3, and I'd say, color everything in to the right side of that line. So from 1 to wherever you put the number, anything on the other side, color that in. The colored in area means potential that you see in you. But here's the reality. If I were to ask you right now, how good are you at social media? Your answer has to be a 10. What? In this second, in this moment, right now, it's 7:10 Central Standard Time and 35 seconds. Could you get any better in this second, in this now? The answer is what? No. So at 7:10 and 35 seconds, how good were you? You were as good as you could be.
Mm-hmm.
We fail to give ourselves the credit of this moment, and we're always in comparison in the future or to the past, and we don't experience this moment as I'm the best freaking dad in the world right now for my family. I'm not comparing myself to Rick or to anybody else. Rick's got, how many grandbabies you got, Elaine?
8 grands, 2 greats.
That's 10 more babies that love you and laugh with you than I got. So you're 10 times better than me. Is that true? I don't think so. But you got 10 more opportunities to practice. 10 more opportunities. And each one of them, enough is different with each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage us right now in this moment to go, I'm freaking hot. I'm freaking awesome. There is nobody better than me at what I do. Because when you say that, isn't that what everybody wants? And they want somebody to guide them, mentor them, move them, teach them, smooth them into that process.
Mm-hmm.
In this moment, how would I feel if I am the best at this moment? The answer to that might be,
Awesome.
how So here's the fun thing. Curtis Broom is a very dear friend of mine. And we had gone up to the lake to take some stuff up to Lisa's house, and we were coming back, and we went by this mini warehouse where they had a vehicle stored in Little Rock, because the whole plan was to have team members and friends fly into Little Rock, take an Uber over to this warehouse, take the Tahoe and go up to the lake an hour north, go have their fun time, come back, park the Tahoe, take an Uber, go back, and don't have to rent a car, all that stuff. We get down to the warehouse to see it because I hadn't seen it since they put it there, and it was stolen. Gone, completely gone. The warehouse door opened, gone. And the look on Curtis's face was like, and I went, just like two little boys, I go, you got to tell Lisa. It wasn't the car's gone, it's this, that, or the other. I'm not telling Lisa the car's stolen. Here's the thing. No matter the tragedy, if there's anything that you've ever had that has inspired your heart, the loss of a loved one, that has made you say, I'm going to do more, be more present. I will never take another moment for granted. If there's been a tragedy that you look back on, like Elaine and those guys with the house, there'll be a moment when they'll laugh about that. When I was homeless for 3 years, now wasn't living on the street, but our house got destroyed and the insurance company was not paying for 3 years. We were homeless, didn't have our own home. Mason was a baby. So between the frustrations and all of the aggravations and all of these things, Mason was getting ear infections because our energy was in him, and that's another training. But we laugh at it now. And in that moment, I said, if I'm going to laugh at something 6 months from now, I'm freaking starting now. I'm not waiting a minute laughing about it. And that's where the same thing that Kyle C says, and I love that.
Sean, and will we say that it allows us to grow? It's part of being able to be mature, even if we are enough at that state.
Yeah. So right now, you're starting the
Thriving Squad.
So when you say I'm now the CEO and founder of Thriving Squad, I probably can be pretty sure there's a whole bunch of I'm not enough, I don't know what to do next. Right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, my love. If you're starting it, aren't you enough right now? And when you're enough, you have room for more.
Mm-hmm.
But if you always say I'm not enough, guess what you do to your container of Thriving Squad?
Just lacking it. Yes.
But if I'm enough, guess what? Which holds more, this or this? A 32-ounce cup or a 126-ounce container? Which holds more?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, folks. This is you right now. You can't start to fill this. You can't ask the universe for more until you fill up your current cup.
Mm-hmm.
Because once it fills up, what's it going to do? When you fill up your current cup, what's it going to do?
Overflow.
You're gonna
And so the problem is we're not going to go, oh, I'm not enough. Now this is where personal undevelopment comes in, not personal development, because this is you, what you've done, what got you here. This is what's going to get you the hell out of here. And this is undeveloping this. This is you agreeing that you can be more. and then all you do is take a little tip. Ladies, when you look at your kids, when we look at puppies, what happens to our head?
We swoon.
We're tipping our cup. I know that's the dumbest thing you've probably ever heard. Oh, but that's when we've enough and we're like, we got to pour it somewhere, and it pours over into this new container. So here's the 7-year-old happy birthday cake happiness. Here's ours. Oh, I like it. I like it. It's good. Oh, you spelled my name wrong. How nice. And now all of a sudden, but how about how about the same happy birthday cake sitting on your dream car? That's what we're talking about. Just start guiding yourself. One of the things I know is that unless we're controlling our thoughts, it's controlling us.
It's true.
It's why I ask my students every hour to send me a text, Y or N. Yes, I'm working on me. No, I'm not. Yes, I'm working on me. No, I'm not. Because if we don't do a check-in every hour for 5 seconds going, what's my state? How do I feel? God, I feel like shit. Okay, I can change that. I choose to change that. I'll go, if I'm feeling in a state of disrepair, I'll put myself in a place where I have to be repaired. And that's usually alive. That's usually when something inspires me. It's like, oh my God, I feel so good. I got to go share it. Or I feel crappy and I send text to people and I say, I love you. I appreciate you. I see there's the Mr. BP coming in. Bob, what can you share on this, brother?
Sometimes when I'm faced with that kind of a situation, I just tell myself that one of these days I'm going to look back on all of this and laugh. So why wait?
Why wait?
Awesome. Awesome.
If you are going to, so we just had an amazing episode of gun threats and different things in a marketplace that I'm working in. And I'm like, this is going to be funny. This is hysterical. They're like, oh my God, you don't understand. But right now I go, Jim Rohn would say this. A buddy of mine, Kyle Wilson, was Jim Rohn's president for 18 years. And one time, a room that Jim was supposed to speak in at 9:30 got overbooked. And they couldn't start till 11 o'clock because there was another meeting in it. And Kyle had just started a relationship with Jim. And he said he had to go tell Jim, I feel terrible. We can't start the meeting till 11:30. I've looked for other places, this, that, and the other. And Jim was eating breakfast and he looked up at Kyle and he said, Kyle, it's not like your best friend died. It's okay. That was I mean, we know Jim Rohn, we hear his work, we listen to it, but to have that, to hear that story, it's not like your best friend died. And Kyle said from that moment on, he said, yeah, Jim would get frustrated with things, but he saw the stress in Kyle and he's like, it's okay. The people will still come. And if they don't, it's okay. It's not like your best friend died. We'll get through this. It's never as bad as it could be. How many of us in the last 2 years have experienced things more tragic, more stressful than we did when we were 5? But when we experienced the things at 5, when our cousin or our brother took away our toy, that was pretty damn stressful. It's all. So I just pray. I pray every day for my enoughness, and I'm getting better at it. I'm learning how to be more enough and enough and enough every day. Anyone like to throw some cherries on top of this thing?
I just made a post. Sean, you'll be proud. No more work in progress. I'm elevating myself. I am enough, but my potential is limitless.
So, my love, where do you feel that now?
Right here, baby. I got it.
But when you're stressed, where did you also feel it? But one is a pressure, one is a release.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. If you held on to joy, you would explode. But we can hold on to a truckload of depression. So I look at the smile in her face. You guys see the smile in her face. And what's her posture? She's leaning forward now. Our bodies will reveal ourselves to our community. So I'm proud of you. Not that you need my proudness, but I am proud of you. That's cool that you've given yourself that more than enoughness. Anyone else? I love you all. You guys make me more than enough.
Refill your cup.
Y'all good? Y'all feeling on this more than enough?
Yes.
Cool. So look at everything today. When somebody cut you off, well, that son of a bitch just made me feel good. When you find $2, oh, that poor bastard made me feel more than enough. Right? I mean, just look at it and be in joy. Right? I get to be in line, Mason's traffic line of cars this morning because it gives me more time with Mason. He's like, what are these people doing? I'm like, dude, I'm with you. This is more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
I love you all. Have an amazing weekend.
Love you too.
You are just absolutely these great misfits. We are high energy misfits. It's just it's okay if you don't fit in because we don't need you to fit in. We need you to stand out, and that's why you're here. So Elaine and Linda and Emily and Leslie and Lavelia and Murray and Christy and Robert and Yarel and Kayla, thank you all for being here this morning. The recording, I'll put the link up in the recording inside a Daily Awakening. So if you're not in part of that community, go there. And I appreciate you, every single one. And yay! Let's go.
Thanks, Sean.
All right.
Thanks, Sean.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Sean.
Bet.